Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the January shows that we've got going on here. Good to be with you post-holiday as we move into the cold weather. But as we tape today here at Fairfield Federal downtown, it's a beautiful day, and we thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. Subject we haven't talked about much, it may have been well over a year. I don't think we did anything during all the pandemic things on Habitat for Humanity, but it's time to do a show on that. We've got just the young lady to do that, Stephanie Taylor. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Welcome. You are the Director of Community Engagement, which I'm going to guess means you have to do shows like this.
Yes.
You come out and do PR and speak to clubs and do all of that?
Yeah, so it is a wide range of things.
Yes, this is just one.
Oh, this is one little thing. Yes, absolutely. And it's a great thing. I love doing this. So it really is just engaging the community, from individuals to organizations, churches, foundations like Fairfield County Foundation, the Land Bank, Housing Coalition. So it's a lot of different things. A lot of links,
a lot of tie-ins there. Well,
yes.
Again, Stephanie is with Habitat for Humanity, and I guess if we think of locally of that, I think it's on Slocum, is the Restore.
Absolutely.
Over there, and that place, people all the time tell me how they go over there and what a fabulous place that is to go to. There are so many cool things in there to see and purchase.
Yeah, so our Restores, it's a really cool concept too that was created. It is one of the things that help us fund our operations. So everything that is run through there, when you donate and then that item is purchased, those funds help us keep the lights on and keep people in place and continue our mission. And we've got 5 staff that are on board as far as paid employees, but then the rest of everything that we have done there is done by volunteers.
How nice is that?
Yeah, and it's fabulous. They help come in and sort the donated items and price and ticket them, help load cars and all that good stuff.
Sure.
And so it's a great organization to be involved in on that side of it, outside of some of the other things we do.
Well, and again, this is the Restore, just a few blocks from here, over on Slocum Avenue. And we'll talk about that more as we get into this. But I think for the most part, Habitat is known, and I can't even think, I don't know if it's been, I would guess maybe 30 years. I don't even know how long Habitat has actually been around. Millard Fuller in Atlanta. I think we see Jimmy Carter has been the face of that for so many years and done such a terrific job in the Atlanta area for Habitat. But how long has the big Habitat been around?
Yes, so Millard Fuller started it back in the 70s.
70s, wow, 50 years.
Yes,
okay.
So he started it as on a farm and wanted to get housing as something to provide stability for folks that are in the low income area. And it started there and just grew, and now we've got all kinds of affiliates across the United States and the world.
Well, I can think of a couple places here. There's one not far from us down on South Broad. There's an area down there where a whole area you developed. And then there's one out closer to where I live off Tiki Lane that I can remember being involved in some of the things then. This is, probably been 20 years ago now. Those were developed. But actually now you're involved in a home in Pleasantville that is being built now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we are building a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in Pleasantville on 2nd Street. It's our first house as Southeast Ohio took over Fairfield County's affiliate.
Sure.
So it's our first house here in Fairfield County. It's the first house that's been built since 2015. And it's a church build, so it's a faith build in partnership with Thrivent and 15 other churches here in Fairfield County.
Nice,
yes.
Nice. And how close are we to giving the key to some lucky people?
Yeah, so it's a family of 6 that will be taking this home and become the homeowners, the Patterson family. And we have a lot of information about them. We actually had one of the church partners did a video of their story, which was really cool. So that's out on our social media if you want to check that out. And they will be moving in hopefully within the next month or so.
Nice.
Yes.
Heck
So we
of a
started
Christmas
it.
present.
Yes, it's great. We broke ground in August, and so as you can see, it's kind of moved pretty quickly.
Did the COVID whole scenario kind of slow things down?
Actually, no. What's really great about what we're doing when we build the houses is you're outside most of the time until we get to about this point where we're at now, which is paint and all of the little things that you got to do on the inside. So we were able to keep the amount of volunteers, which is typically up to 8 people, and you can socially distance and be
Sure.
outside. And so for this build, no, it didn't have any effect on that.
So you're going to be finishing up on this home very soon, giving the keys so that the Patterson family, who I'm
Yes.
sure are just over the moon on how excited they are.
Yes, they're living in a 2-bedroom apartment right now, so they can't wait.
They're ready. They're ready.
Yes.
But now I guess we found out that there's something new happening in terms of a new home.
Yes, so we are going to hopefully be breaking ground here in March in Lancaster at 925 South Broad.
Wow, that's just a mile down the road here from us.
Yes.
Headed down the road there. Someone has donated a lot? Is that how it worked?
Yep, so we partner with the land bank on a lot of the lots that we get, and it's a great way to reutilize that land.
Now, the land bank, do they deal with land that's not being utilized for homes or has been turned over?
Correct, yeah, so usually foreclosed homes that that don't make it through a sheriff's sale, they take them over. If it's got a blighted house on it that they can't fix up, they'll tear it down, and then it becomes an empty lot.
Here we go.
Yep, and so, and with our partnership with them, and they're a great partner to have. They donated the lot in Pleasantville, and then this one here, we've actually got a second lot in Pleasantville we'll be building on in 23.
Nice.
So it's a really great way that it helps us to keep that home affordable, because then we don't actually have to purchase the land when it's donated, and that's another cost that then keeps that affordable. So yes, 925 South Broad, and right now it's a community build, so it doesn't have any restrictions, and we've got great partners like Fairfield Federal, Park National Bank, Hocking Valley Title that have already started us off on getting that funded, and that's my big project right now that I'm working on.
Now, are there still volunteers needed to help do this, or I would think typically you've always, as I remember, you've always had church groups or organizations that have stepped up and say our staff will help.
Yeah, so it takes every single person in the community. That's what I'll tell you, is we do not tell anybody they can't come out. If you've never picked up a hammer or a tool in your life and you say, hey, I want to get out there and I have no idea what I'm doing, we say, come on.
You've got contractors
Absolutely.
there that lead people around.
Yeah, so we have a site supervisor who is on staff with us at every build, and they're there to help and teach. So we really do have that teaching model as well. So this year on the Pleasantville build, I learned how to shingle a roof and do siding and put down subfloor. And
nice.
Yeah, so I am learning, and it's really fun to learn alongside of the volunteers as well.
So, and you already now have a family. You probably have more families than you do homes, I would guess.
So it is a very interesting thing. So we have to do a lot of qualification for the home, because they do become homeowners and they do pay a 0% interest mortgage. And we do look at a lot of things for that affordability. They have to be able to pay for it.
Sure.
And they do pay property taxes and insurance in that mortgage. So we look at a lot of that. We get a ton of applications. And with the sweat equity and affordability, it does kind of weed out quite a lot of people.
Probably not all those people make it down to the final cut.
Not as many. I think in 2021, we had 750 applications across our 8 counties.
Yes.
But it's a lot tougher than you think.
Yeah, sure.
But I think we are very close to having a family selected for this home. And it's exciting when we get them, because it's a great chance for us to start partnering with them.
And then the process will begin again for the Pleasantville number 2?
Yep, so we're building here in Lancaster starting in the spring, like I said, in March. We will move to Hocking County in the fall. That's the other county I cover out of our 8. We're building down there for a family, I believe, of 4, and they have 2 children, one with cerebral palsy and one that's on the autism spectrum. So that'll be a very different house for us as well, because we've got some...
A lot more specialty needs that you incorporate in that.
Yeah, which is fun. We enjoy doing that.
Sure.
So then we'll be back in Pleasantville in the spring of 23.
Nice. Well, it's nice to have a plan.
Yes.
I'm sure you're glad rather than no plan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I like having a plan. In fact, I'm probably one of the people that I'm always bugging Ken, our executive director, like, so what's the plan on this, and he's like, well, and I'm learning that in construction things don't always go as the
And
plan.
that's difficult for you, I suspect. That
Sometimes.
you want A, B,
Sometimes.
C, and D. And
Yes, like yesterday, coming right back from the holiday, I'm like, so when are we dedicating this Pleasantville house? And he's like, I don't know yet.
It's
and I'm
day
like,
one.
I know.
We're just getting back into this. Come on, Stephanie, calm down.
Chill out. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that's it. So let's go back to the Restore now. What are the hours there? Again, what's the address? I'm going to guess that's a 700 block.
It is.
I used
Man,
to live
you're
on
good at
700 Washington, so I was just thinking, and there used to be a drive-in right there across the street from me.
Okay.
That big empty lot was a drive-in,
Yeah,
Plaza
I always
Drive-In,
wondered.
and I would get down there and stand outside the fence and watch the movies. You couldn't hear
Hey.
it, but it was very cool
Okay.
to see a 400-foot person on the wall. You
Yeah.
know? So that was great fun. But now you're right there in one of those nice buildings there on Slocum Avenue, 700 something or other.
707.
And what would be the phone number if anybody, is there a phone number they can call if they want to
Yes.
check on what they might have available?
Yes, so the phone number there is 740-654-3434.
Okay.
And I will tell you, we get a lot of calls all day long, so it's not unlikely that they'll have to leave a voicemail, but
Sure.
we return those as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
Because we get calls on all kinds of things, donations, so we provide free donation pickup in Fairfield County.
I've seen the vehicle around.
Yes, so you'll see the truck, and we ask that you just call and we'll get it scheduled. We're so busy with picking up donations that we usually are about 2 weeks out, which is great. I mean, that's
Sort of a good problem.
to have,
Yes.
to be honest.
Yeah.
And mainly because we run the truck 2 days a week, so Tuesday, Thursday. So that's the other part. But we are open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and then Saturday, 9 to 5.
Okay. So plenty of time for people to get down there. And again, they can
Absolutely.
either donate items or again, purchase them. And I know
Yes.
everything is at such a reasonable price.
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty much, even if we get something brand new, like we've gotten Lowe's donations before of like brand new doors that, they just didn't sell or were floor models or what have you. We sell them at half retail. So that door may go for $3,000 and we're selling it way, way cheaper than, sometimes even less than half,
Sure.
Sometimes that door is $600 and it's got glass and all, it's a beautiful door. But
I've heard people get out there and get doors. That's the
Yes.
thing I've heard most of, I
There's a
think,
lot
is
of
doors.
doors.
So you have some businesses that will donate things like that to you.
Yes, so we have all kinds of different donation sources. Individuals that will bring, and you can drop off donations as well, so you don't have to wait for us to pick up. Places like, for example, if Fairfield Federal decide to do a remodel and they're like, hey, we've got this thing we want to get out of here and we don't know what to do with it, we'll come get it out. And we do all of this to keep this stuff out of the landfills while also repurposing it. So last year alone, we have 3 restores across our footprint, 870 tons of waste that were diverted from
Really?
the landfills. Yeah,
So good
So-
work here.
absolutely.
Now you handle, is it Fairfield and Hocking?
Correct.
So you have a restore in Hocking County?
We do not.
No.
So we have a restore in Zanesville and Athens,
Okay.
and then Lancaster.
Okay, those
Yeah.
are the closest ones.
Those are the
So we're
3.
fortunate to have this here
Yes,
then.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a great source, and we will partner if we've got someone in Hocking that says, hey, we really need you to come get this stuff. We'll try to figure out what we can and see between Athens and Lancaster who wants to go get that and share.
Well,
and all
you've
that.
given us the number for the restore, which was,
654-3434.
okay, we have that now, but if somebody is interested in information on either volunteering, maybe they're in an organization that would want to help, or maybe they're a family that would want to put their name in the hopper for a future home, how would they go about that?
Yeah, so to get information about volunteering or donating, because we have to fund all of these homes, and also find out if you want to be part of the programs, you will go to habitatseo.org, so southeastohio.org. That's our website. There's the pre-application for the families if they want to try to apply, but you can sign up to volunteer right in there as well, and learn more about our other programs like our critical home repair and microfinance program. And then if interested in talking more to someone in the organization, like myself, my phone number directly here in Lancaster is 740-870-5046.
Stephanie Taylor's been with us. She is Director of Community Engagement with Habitat SEO, I guess
Yep.
Habitat for Humanity, Southeast Ohio. She's the
Correct.
person you talk about. And you would go out and speak to a group if somebody wanted that?
Yes.
That's your position too, to do that?
Yes, so I present at organizations like the Women's Giving Circle, for example, is helping also to fund the Broad Street build, and I spoke at their last meeting.
So
and
today you could be speaking at, tomorrow you out hammering shingles on the roof.
that's right. You never know where
Whatever
you'll
it
find me.
takes.
That's right.
Stephanie, thanks for being with us
Thank you
today.
again.
Stephanie Taylor from Habitat for Humanity, glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Good luck out there in getting all these homes, and you're doing good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, and we'll be back on Fairfield Today.
Life is unpredictable. That's why estate planning is important. Estate planning provides you comfort and peace of mind knowing that you're taking care of your loved ones and ensuring your legacy lives on just as you envisioned. You lived a life that is beautifully and uniquely yours. You deserve an estate planning attorney who understands that and creates a plan as unique as you and in the best interest of your loved ones. You deserve the local, trusted, experienced attorneys at Dagger Law.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all this stuff. And I looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you. Thank you for joining us. One of the, I think, interesting places over the past year we've talked more about than probably we ever have for a long time are the food pantries, especially since all the COVID information for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been. Seems like it's been a decade, but it's only been a year, a couple of years. But we know there's been such an increased usage and need for the food pantries, and we have several around town to help that problem. But one of them we know of is out on East Main Street from here, and that's the Lutheran Social Services organization handles that. And we've got the young lady that kind of is the boss of all that now, Misty Decker. She's Distribution Center Manager. Misty, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you're out here in East Main. You're a few miles from here, out there across from, well, I was going to say Big Bear, but that's not the case anymore. There's all kind of things going on across the street from you now out there, building, I don't even know what's there now, odd lots or big lots out there. Yeah. So you're right across from what I remember.
We're actually right across from the Marathon Station, which is a little bit further.
Oh, it is a little bit further. I'm thinking of the of the old children's home.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
That is part of the. Head Start and all that
Right.
there. But what's the address out there?
2045 East Main Street.
That'll be germane to our topic because you have a large food pantry. I've had the opportunity to come out there and look around, and you've really got a big business going on right now. It's a real business.
Yes. Right now we're currently open 5 days a week, and we do have some new hours I'd like to discuss.
Sure.
So on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we open up at noon, and we serve from noon to 3. And then on Thursdays, we open up at 1, and we serve until 5 p.m. And that's a little bit different from our previous hours, but those are our current hours. And so usually families will call 211 to get a reservation, and so that kind of gives us an idea of how many are coming a day. But I just also want to make it clear, if you're not able to call 911 for whatever reason or get a reservation or something's going on, you can stop in. We're not going to not serve you.
Sure.
So, and I also want to let families know that they can come in twice a month for a full shop-through order, and then they can come in as often as they would like for fresh produce. We do realize that fresh fruits and vegetables are a very good way to kind of get a balanced diet. So we do offer the fresh fruits and vegetables to families as often as they would like to come in to get those.
And we'll back up a little bit right now. You talk about the new hours of things. How did the food pantry out there, Lutheran Social Services, function over that COVID spell? How was that? Was it more difficult like everybody else?
It was. I don't know that it was more difficult. It was definitely different. We did not have to close down. We kind of families would come in, and pre-COVID, families would come into our choice system, and they would come in and they would pick out their foods during COVID in an effort to try to keep everybody safe,
distanced.
Yes. And we actually went to pre-packaged boxes and pre-packaged carts and stuff. So families would still come in. They would go kind of to our side doors, and we would take the food out, to them that way. So very much limited contact for everybody and trying to keep everybody safe that way. We are back to choice now.
Okay.
We do, we're still under some COVID guidelines, so we are requiring masks for everybody, for families who come in, for staff and volunteers.
Sure.
We're trying to social distance as much as possible. We kind of prefer that one person from a household comes in. Pre-COVID, sometimes you'd have 2 or 3 people, and that's
maybe
fine.
Some children coming
right.
in. It's just easier now.
Yes. And that being said, we understand sometimes, moms have children or there's children, and that's fine. We understand there's things happens, but yeah, so we still have some COVID guidelines going on, but we are back to choice.
So now you've got some new hours, and we'll go over them again and all that before we get out of here. But this is all kind of now going on around a remodel you're undergoing?
We are. So we were fortunate enough to get a grant from a land trust grant, and we have some remodeling going on. So we've been able to do
Space is a premium.
Yes. So we've had, again, we're kind of set up differently because this is all going on, and it's still important to us to be able to serve as we were before. So, again, it's a little bit different. It looks a little bit different from families when they come in, but they're hanging in there with us. It really doesn't impact the services they receive. It just looks different. So we've been doing some painting. We've got all new flooring. We're getting some new lighting. So we've got several little things going on.
What, oddly enough, just last week, I had on Carrie Woody, who is the head of United Way, and kind of one of the parent agencies that you're funded through, and I was asking her about needs, whether, last year was a tough year for all the United Way agencies. I believe that the total, she said, was about a 40% cut straight across the board during a time when probably your need and usage was going higher, so you just got it from both ends like that. So it was difficult. But in the past year and a half, has usage been up more? Have you seen more people coming through?
We haven't seen really an increase in usage overall. What we have seen is an increase in combined households, families moving in with other household, with other family members.
To try to keep cost?
Yes. We've seen an increase in senior citizens, serving senior citizens, and we've seen an increase in single households or households without children. And that makes sense if you think about a lot of the government help and supplements that were set up during COVID, families with children probably benefited more from that, whether it be through the extended EBT programs through the school, the pandemic EBT, increased SNAP benefits, the child tax credit, stimulus payments. So families with children seemed, I think, probably received a little bit more help than maybe the single parent or the single without children households, single households, or senior citizens households. So that, I think, for me anyways, kind of correlates why we're seeing an increase in those households overall.
I've had Jonathan Hanks on from Maywood Mission. They have a food pantry down there. I've had Brian DeMichael from the Salvation Army. They have a big food pantry at their place. And yours, I know, St. Mark's Church, I think still has one, I don't know, but in Maple Street, Methodist Church has some. So there are other places around, but I know, and you mentioned it earlier, there's a process. If it's done how you'd like to do it in a perfect world, is it 211 people would call up and qualify?
Yeah, so we do encourage, families to call 211, set up a reservation for that. That way, like I said, every day they kind of send us a list of families that we're going to see that day, and we kind of have an idea of how many we're going to be serving. But like I said, if there's an issue and you can't get a hold of 211, you definitely stop in.
So if in fact, again, in a perfect world, if I'm somebody that would need your services out there and I call 211, what kind of information would I have to have for them if this is my first time going to a food pantry?
I think just your basic information. They're probably going to ask, of course, your name, your address, how many is in the household, their ages, birth dates, just basic information like that.
And what kind of numbers are we talking about now that, again, although I think certainly COVID is still around us, but it's different now with this Omicron and the way things are going with that. More people are getting sick, not as perhaps as intensely sick as they were during the Delta or the pre-original COVID-19. But with the hours that you keep there, when you call 211, do they give you a time to come in?
Yeah, so 211's aware of our hours, and
Okay.
they let families know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then, and again, your food, they can pick from anything they want in there? How does that work?
So it's set up almost like a mini grocery store, and we've got different food groups. Like we have grains, we have fruits and vegetables, we have proteins.
Everything is in those little nooks.
Right.
Okay.
And so depending on their family size, they get, they're allotted so many choices. Interestingly, we see families or people who come in and, they're not, maybe they don't eat a lot of snacks, or they don't eat, certain things. Sometimes they don't take what they're even allotted. And you always hear, well, I just don't want to take something that's going to go to waste, right?
Sure.
Right. So we do see that.
So you don't need an EBT card, or you don't need anything as long as you've qualified yourself. Or like you say, if they just come up and say, we're needing that, then you're open.
Right. So everything is done. When families come in, we capture their information electronically. They initial, that everything's correct. And a part of that initialing is saying that they fall within the income guidelines set forth from state DJFS, all that. But the income guidelines are higher than what you would see to be eligible for like SNAP benefits.
Okay.
We're serving working families. We're seeing a lot of grandparents who have custody of their grandchildren. We're serving those. Really, we're seeing the whole gamut of who we're serving.
My guest is Misty Decker. Misty is the Director of Community Engagement for Lutheran Social Services, the food pantry out here in East Main. What's the address again?
2045 East Main Street.
And if somebody would want more information, website, phone number, any of that?
If you go to lssnetworkofhope.org, and you see all the services that we offer. It's, food pantries is just one of the many services provided by LSS, but you can click on the food pantry link from there. You can also follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook under LSS Food Pantries.
And one thing I did mention, I assume you get most of your food from Mid-Ohio Food, but it's got another name now,
Mid-Ohio Food Collective now.
Food Collective,
yes,
that's right.
yeah.
Is that where typically you get yours?
The majority of our food, yes, is ordered from Mid-Ohio Food Collective, yes.
And then you have, as I remember with the other, sometimes people call up and say, somebody like a Kroger's, well, we've got 50 turkeys we need to get rid of. Can you take them? I assume you would take that from individuals or businesses.
Correct. We're fortunate we have a partnership kind of with through Mid-Ohio Food Collective, and we are able to get donations from our local Kroger's, from Giant Eagle.
Nice.
We go up to Columbus and there's a Flowers Outlet Bakery up there. We get breads and stuff. We are fortunate. That helps us so much. So we are very fortunate that we do get a lot of just kind of local people who will come in and donate foods as well. Sometimes maybe a relative has passed, or I think I kind of mentioned talking to you pre before. Local OU Lancaster usually does a food drive for us once a year. Sometimes United Way they do different drives and donate to us. And I think probably with United Way, it's us, and then the other food pantries as well. It's collective.
Sure. Again, if you just go in your search engine and just look up Lutheran Social Services Food Pantry, you'll find it. I mean, it's there. A lot of information. Good website. Misty Decker with us, who's the head out there of the food pantry. Thanks for what you're doing out there. It's been a tough time the last couple of years. We appreciate you and so many other people that do what you do out there.
Thank you.
Misty Decker with Lutheran Social Services and the food pantry out there. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.